All right, we're ready.
Live via Skype from two different parts of Texas, it's time once again for a couple of cold ones with Corey and Carlisle.
That's right, man. I'm hanging out at Mom's place, Ma Duke's.
Hanging out with Mommy.
That's right, man. Getting a free meal and some clean underwear. You know how it is.
I don't know how it is. I was hatched from an egg.
Well, ever since the old man passed away, my mom's been feeling kind of lonely, and it was her birthday, so I'm trying to spend more time with her. We'll probably have to do more of these this way, as I was telling you. I was actually trying to get you and Leon to start a podcast, but if this works, and I am spending more time here with my mom, we could probably do this a little bit more.
Yeah. No, and the thing is I'm down with doing a podcast with Leon. It's just trying to get our schedules to work because he has a day job. And I work nights, so it's trying to get that. What's always worked about this is the fact that you and I are both up in the middle of the night on Sunday, and it gives us something to post right on Monday morning. But to catch Leon up at 1:30 in the morning on a Sunday night, it ain't going to happen.
No, I know that, and I'm not trying to do that. I mean, I get tired of you touching me on my leg and everything when we're in person together, but I can handle that.
You always complain about that on air, and then whenever we're in the room together and the microphone's not on, you're like, why aren't you touching my leg?
Well, that's when the microphone's not on, but I'm trying to concentrate when we're recording. I can't have y'all on my lap and everything when we do this now. But you know what? I would tell you something. We can actually probably make a compromise here because, as I said, I'm probably going to have to be spending more time with my mother. And that's the only reason why I kind of wanted to have you and Leon do that recording. But if we can do this and it works, then we might have a solution here. That or we just kidnap Leon in the middle of the night and make his ass do a podcast.
That is a possibility as well.
Then we can go ahead with the top 5.
The top 5 brought to you by Bill.
Damn, see, this works so good. I still feel you spitting on me when you do that too. It's like It's just like I'm right there. Face is all wet right now.
I feel like you're giving me a hand job at this very moment. It's incredible.
It's as if I was there in person, doesn't it?
Yeah, except I get to watch porn and do it myself. This is great. I've got my two monitors set up going on. I've got one monitor that's got news and tweets. I tweeted about an hour and a half ago that we were going to be doing a Coco and that I could take some questions. So I've got some questions for the email portion of the show, and then my other screen is porn.
Awesome. Now, that could be our new tagline for the show. A couple of colons.
Screen is porn?
No, a couple of colons, like having a big black hand around your penis. I like that.
You know what? I think it's a little clunky. I think we should work with that.
Oh, we can slim it down.
We'll slim it down somehow.
All right, let's get on out of this.
Let's get to
out of this
it's a really interesting and marginally frustrating top 5.
This faux homosexuality into the top 5. Man, what's
the
up?
number 5 film.
I can only guess why this is frustrating to you, and I hope to get your opinion on something too. Now that we are actually talking after a week, number 5 is Cobra's still rising, man, still hanging in there, boy.
Hey, G.I. Joe, baby.
Joe has pulled in $132.4 million, even though it cost $175 million to make. It's been out there for 4 weeks, so it's kind of slowing down a little bit, but not too bad so far.
No, not bad at all. Nobody ever went broke underestimating the intelligence of the American audience.
And that brought in $8 million this weekend, and looks like this might be the last week that it's in the top 5. So
it might be, but next weekend's really kind of lame. The weekend, Labor Day weekend, is always really crap. So it might still hang in there. But let's go to the number 4 film of the week.
Now you hear people say that in order for a movie to make its profit, that it has to make over 3 times what it cost over its initial budget. And the movie
3 times its cost is not. No, it's generally 2.
I've heard 3 sometimes, but even well, look, that doesn't matter because this is a movie that has made profit 3 times over what its budget is, and that is District 9. It has brought in $90.8 million. It cost $30 million to make, and this weekend, after 3 weeks, it has brought in $10.7 million, and it is one of my favorite movies this summer. So I'm happy to hear that.
Oh, absolutely. It's always great when one of the best films of the year actually does well. And this is it's definitely profited, and this is before taking in foreign and before taking in DVD. And I think this one is going to be one of those that stays on DVD for a while. So yeah, this was a good call. This is what happens when you take geniuses and give them small, moderate level budgets. You end up with really great films that a lot of heart went into that end up profiting.
Yeah,
it didn't make G.I. Joe money, but or even Transformers money, but instead it's going to be pure profit.
Yeah, no, it's going to be pure profit, and it's not the property that G.I. Joe or Transformers is. I mean, this is a movie that came out of nowhere and surprised
Absolutely.
audiences and built up its momentum sort of like 2 months before it came out. So this is a movie that's done surprisingly well, and I'm happy to hear that it has. And let's go into some new entries here, starting with number 3.
Number 3.
And that would be Rob Zombie's Halloween 2, which brought in underestimated it brought in an underwhelming $17.4 million.
Very underwhelming, especially considering the first one, the first Halloween, Halloween directed by Rob Zombie, opened this very same weekend 2 years ago to just over $30 million. So for this to come in like at this number is definitely disappointing to Zombie and his team.
Yeah, the studios didn't expect that. They expected a little bit more money, but predictions for this movie said that they weren't surprised because there's been a lot of horror movies that have done this, where the shock's delivered the first time and people haven't been bothered to see it the second time. Something like Texas Chainsaw Massacre did sort of the same pattern. So it's not a lot of people are surprised.
I'm not surprised, but by the same token, I don't think that's the case at all. I don't think it's fall off. I don't think it's people sick of Zombie. I think it was this weekend's competition, but we'll get to that very shortly after the number 2 film,
which is Inglourious Basterds, which now has gone on to be a bona fide hit. It has brought in $73.8 million in 2 weeks. It is Quentin Tarantino's second highest grossing film after Pulp Fiction. And this weekend alone, in its second week, it has brought in $20 million. So that movie's going pretty strong, man. A lot of people are loving this movie. Even I did not love it, but I liked it a lot. And it's probably right up there with some of my favorite films from Quentin Tarantino.
Well, the Weinsteins lived to fight another day. That's the interesting story here. Is the Weinsteins were broke. The reason why this was distributed by Universal is because the Weinstein Company didn't have the money to even put it in theaters. This was their last thing. They had a number of films on their plate that they couldn't spend any money on, that they started selling off or letting other people distribute, and they needed this to work, and it did. So this movie has saved the Weinsteins for the moment. And yeah, no, it's going to go on to be Quentin Tarantino's highest grossing theatrical film, which he really needed after what happened with
Death Proof.
Death Proof. Yeah, it's going
Grindhouse. Yeah.
He needed this in a bad way, and sure enough, again, this is what I was talking about before. When you give guys like this a moderate budget, not a big budget, but a moderate budget, and let them work around that, they end up making a film like this.
Yeah, no, I'm all for, after seeing a lot of people do things, including Robert Rodriguez and Quentin Tarantino with Grindhouse, I'm all for a 50% hand in some of this creativity that goes on. Like somebody coming in and telling somebody you need to cut this shit down, and somebody say, well, let me have a little say some on project too. And I think this worked right here, and it wasn't self-indulgent as much as I thought it would be, and it's actually something that Quentin Tarantino seemed really inspired to do. And, it's kind of a return to form for him, even though he's still doing some of the things that I disliked with Kill Bill. But I'm glad that this movie is doing well, and I'm looking forward to seeing what he'll do next. I would like to see him do another movie with those characters, man, the Bastards, because I didn't feel there was enough of them in Inglourious Basterds.
See, I'm right there with you. I would love to see him do that in a big way. I mean, the Bastards themselves were really interesting characters, and the one small minor thing that disappointed me about this film is I've been hyped up for 8 years, for Quentin to do a film, which he's been talking about, that's just a Men on a Mission movie. That feels like The Dirty Dozen or Kelly's Heroes or any of those films where it's just a bunch of dudes fighting impossible odds, slowly getting picked off. And that's what I wanted to see. And this wasn't it. I like what I saw. I like it a lot. But it wasn't that. And so, yeah, I totally agree with you. I'd like to see that him revisit those characters or revisit a different group of characters and do something similar to what he was initially talking about.
Yeah, he actually talked about, and I'm not doing this to make a joke. I'm not doing this because I'm black. He actually mentioned, I don't think he'll do this because Quentin Tarantino always says, I'm going to do something and never does it. Even he has admitted himself, like, hey, I have all these ideas and I say I'm going to do it, and I never come back around to doing it. But he actually wants to do this with a group of black characters who go out and they actually fight racists, like white racists. And I don't know what setting he wants to do this in. I forgot. But, I mean, I think that would be perfect for him because he's all into the blaxploitation stuff. And he loves black characters. And I figured, like, man, he can make a really cool sort of a throwback to maybe a blaxploitation type film with that.
A 70s era style Black Dirty Dozen would
Black
be
Gestapo.
Awesome. No, because Black Gestapo is very different.
I'm kidding. But so is the original Inglourious Bastards, and he could,
sure.
like, you know. Anyway, let's go ahead into our number one movie.
The number one movie of the week, I Hate You.
Which is The Final Destination. Not Final Destination, but the definitive Final Destination. Why do you hate this movie? I didn't see it, by the way.
It's a fucking piece of shit, that's why.
Really?
This was a fuck this movie for me.
Really? Because Cyrus liked it.
I'm not surprised. It was a total fucking piece of shit. I hate this movie. What did he give it, out of curiosity?
He was pretty mediocre about it, but he did give it a low matinee.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
And he actually said a low matinee for going to the theater and seeing it in 3D, and people, especially for the uninitiated, for people who haven't seen any of these movies. Like, I've never seen any of these movies before. I haven't seen one Final Destination movie. Has
he ever seen one?
Yeah, he loves those movies. He's seen all of them. He doesn't love all of them. He says number 2 and one other one. He said, but number 2 is the best one, and one other I think number 3 is the second.
2 is the best, definitely. I like 1 for some of the gags in it. I hate 3, and I absolutely positively loathe this piece of shit.
Or maybe he said 1 was the second best, 2 and then 1. I can't remember.
This was just so painful to sit through, and it was so dull because it was just tedious because they show you these weird premonitions of how someone's going to die, and it's just sitting there waiting for them to go through all the red herrings of, oh, we're going to get, oh, no, we're not going to get, oh, we're going to kill, oh, no, we're not going to, oh, now they're dead. And the deaths were so unimaginative. It was so, every death was super CG. It was really cheesy, really goofy, and really poorly done. It's some of the worst CG I've seen in a long time. I mean, you remember how badly I hated
My Bloody Valentine?
My Bloody Valentine?
See, I like My Bloody Valentine. I couldn't figure out why you
also saw it drunk. Okay, you were drinking and
I really wasn't all that drunk. I was there with an audience that was in. I was there at midnight, and it was a great midnight movie to watch with all these people who were having a good time with it in 3D. I liked that movie, man.
This movie made me wish I was watching that movie again. This movie made that movie look fucking brilliant. I mean, I wish you had been there that night then when we were recording, because that would have been a good debate. Yeah, but, it was the Final Destination, and really I didn't want to fucking think about it anymore. It hurt my head a lot. I was so angry, because I almost went to Halloween 2, because I'm a big Rob Zombie fan, and I wanted to see that, but Halloween 2 was playing up at the Gateway, and, I really don't care for that theater, and then Final Destination was playing in 3D at the Draft House, and I had some friends going, and I was like, all right, you know what, fine, you talked me into it, I'll go see the Final Destination. And I was so angry with. I mean, it's odd to hear Cyrus say that he liked it, because I walked out and everyone I walked out with was bitching about it and hating on it, and I was like, okay, I'm not alone. Everyone else I'm talking to hates this fucking film.
Yeah, I have no room to speak. I haven't seen it, and I haven't seen any of those movies. So
now I think this is why Halloween completely underperformed like it did. Because that Halloween made $17 million, and this made what, $30 million?
28.3 million.
Yeah, so all told, horror racked in $45 million this weekend of the box office, and that got split between 2 films. So I'm thinking that had they not had two competing films in the marketplace, Halloween 2 probably would have done like it did last time. But this time, when people got offered a choice, it's, well, do you want to see a movie in 3D or do you want to see a sequel? They were both sequels, but do you want to see one in 3D or not 3D? And people opted for 3D.
Well, did you ever see? And I think the first. How much did the first Halloween make?
The first Halloween made, I believe, $30 million its opening weekend.
Opening weekend, because I remember it being like in the 20 range, like 25 million, something like that.
Let me double check, but
I don't think it was 30 million. I think it was
30.
20. I think it was 20 something million dollars. Maybe not 25, but it was in there in the $20 million range somewhere.
Well, I'll find out here in a moment.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to make. But so did you said you finally saw it?
Opening weekend was you were correct. It was 26.3 million was the opening weekend.
Okay, but what did you see the movie? This sequel?
No, I was actually going to go see it earlier tonight, and then my wife wasn't in the mood to see it, so I'm like, oh well, I'll see it tomorrow. So
see, I'd be really curious to see what you think about this.
See, I'm really curious to see what I think as well, because I've heard very mixed reactions. Now, a lot of the reactions I just kind of brushed off, because a lot of people were really hating on the original Halloween. And anyone who hated on the first Halloween, which I really enjoyed, who comes back and goes, yeah, it's just more Rob Zombie shit, that doesn't convince me that it's a bad film. But the problem is I've talked to a bunch of people who really liked the first one, and half of them thought this was a good sequel. And the other half really disliked it. So I'm like, oh shit.
This shit is so crazy, man. I'm not going to tell you that it's bad myself. I think it's bad, but I'm not going to tell you that which I just did. But because you're going to think I'm one of those people who just has something against the film. And I'll be honest with you.
It's not that it's people necessarily have something against the film, but if you don't like Rob Zombie and what he does, and you don't like what he did in the first film, how can you expect to like what he did in the second?
Well, I actually do like Rob Zombie. I like his music. I like his videos. I like what do you call it? The Devil's Rejects. I'm looking forward to the haunting adventures of Super El Beasto, the animated thing that he has coming out next month. And he's even said that he's going to be going on to make The Blob, which I'm thinking, you know what? That is probably a movie that's better suited for Rob Zombie than Halloween, because I think that a monster movie like this will suit his sort of creativity and his imagination instead of remaking something like a serial killer movie like Halloween.
I don't disagree with you, although my problem is I think the serial killer thing was very much up his alley. I mean, so much so that it's all he's made. He's made 4 films, all of them serial killer movies. I'm so excited that he's moving on into something else. What people are all up in arms about, though, is that when he talked about The Blob and did the initial interview, he goes, yeah, I'm not going to talk about what I'm doing yet, but we're not going to do a big red blobby thing like in the past 2 movies, because I don't think that'll work today. And people lost their minds.
Yeah, now people start speculating on this shit that he was going to do. They're going they said, now people I even know what he was talking about. Some people even went off and started saying, you know what he's going to do? He's going to make The Thing, because the blob is going to not eat people and consume them. It's going to shapeshift. It's going to absorb people and then change into them. And it's going to be like a cross between The Thing and the Terminator, the Metal Man from Terminator 2. And I'm like, y'all don't know what the fuck he's going to do. Y'all just talking shit now. I mean, he never said that.
And that's the thing is all Rob Zombie has to do is announce whatever he's working on next, and people will just start screaming at him like, how dare you? He said he's not going to do it with a big red blobby thing. You know what? I'm gonna put some faith in him. I like him a lot. I trust that he's got a cool idea. The way I look at this, it's funny you mentioned The Thing. This is what I mentioned to a few friends the other day, was that, hey, saying we're not going to do The Blob with a big red blobby thing is like John Carpenter in 1981 saying, yeah, I'm going to remake The Thing from another world, but it's not going to be a frozen vegetable guy. What do you mean it's not going to be a frozen vegetable? That's what The Thing was. What are you talking about? Well, no, I'm going to kind of try to adapt it from the original story, and I'm going to do something a little bit. It's not going to work. That's total crap. He's got to be a vegetable guy. That's what he is. And then, he goes and makes The Thing. I'm hoping that he does this with The Blob, because the original Blob is a great, fun, campy classic, and the 80s version, the 1988 version, is great, campy fun, but nobody's ever done a serious fucking Blob movie where it's really just
Well,
fucking balls to the wall horror.
I don't know, man. I thought that remake of the Blob that they did, it wasn't just a blobby red Jello type thing. That thing was kind of cool, man. It had tentacles and it burned people, and you got to see people melting on the screen. Everybody's not talking about that remake, but they remade the Blob in 1986 or 7, something like that.
88.
88. Okay.
I love it a lot. In fact, it stars Shawnee Smith, who most people will know as Jigsaw's assistant in the Saw movies. She starred. It's when she was really young. And I love that movie a lot. In fact, I prefer the 88
And Kevin Dillon, man.
Kevin Dillon is the roguish motorcycle riding, leather jacket wearing badass.
Johnny Drama.
But screw that. Fucking Shawnee Smith. That was when she was super uber hot. I had the biggest crush on her back when she was in that movie. Man, was she hot in that movie. But that movie's just, it's really creepy, but then it has that really stupid, goofy, we're going to make a sequel ending with the preacher with the burned face holding up the little piece of the blob.
Well, that's the last part of the movie. I can look past that. I think what was cool about that film is that you had like a hero. They had the guy, the clean-cut leading man who you thought was kind of going to be the hero of the movie, and they just, that thing ate his ass right at the beginning and, and left the arm. You mean that shit? And he was like, help me. And that chick, was it Shawnee Smith who tried to help him and pull his arm off and shit? I was like, man, this movie's badass right now. I love that. I mean, the Blob, I'm amazed that the Blob has caught on, man, because you're right. The original is just, it really is a mound of Jello. That's all. It's a box of fucking Jello.
Exactly. And in this day and age, that's not going to work. And the thing is the studio's just going to go, well, you know what? Do the Jello CG. And then it's going to look even fucking worse when people start talking about, you know what? When they made a more realistic Jello mold in 1958, you got problems, dude. And so I like that. I mean, the Blob stories, it's the classic mold. Something falls from space that is a mindless consumption machine. It's, a giant space amoeba lands here and starts eating shit. I want to see him play around with that and do what kind of creepy stuff. Besides, Rob has to find new places to use Sherry Moon Zombie. Even
you got to admit. Now, I interviewed the guy. And I even brought up the question. Now, I wasn't like confrontational because I'm the one that has said, like, man, he uses his wife in a movie as much as he can, and it almost seems like he's giving her an excuse to work. And when I interviewed him, I said, people say, I didn't say I said it because I don't want to be an asshole, but looking at, when he gave the explanation, he's like, I just like working with my wife. And I was like, okay, I can see that. But even after watching this Halloween, I'm like, damn, man, you really are beginning to crowbar into movies now. I'm sorry, man. I mean, I would. That's why I want you to see it, because I think you'd be hard pressed to even say yourself, like, yeah, no, he's not doing that on purpose. He just he thinks he's a really good actress.
I want to see it. I'm definitely checking it out this week. I'm really bitter at myself for seeing The Final Destination because I'd totally written that off, and then I went and I allowed myself to get kind of excited for it, and then just left pissed off.
But
God,
I'm with you. Well, I see now. I got to go see it because I want to go see it. But I would, just to let you know, I really do like Rob Zombie, and where I was kind of rolling my eyes with Halloween. I really am looking forward to seeing what he'll do with the Blob. You say he's going to make it more of a science fiction film. I think he stole Bill Cosby in that shit. The Blob versus Bill Cosby, big old mold of Jello fighting Bill Cosby. Nah, I would bet Bill Cosby would win that shit too.
Only if it were Frozen.
Oh. Frozen, and then in the sequel he fights a
didn't he only do the pudding pops? He didn't do the actual Jello.
No, he did. No, he did Jello, man. He did Jello commercials because he was always. They even made Jello jigglers. He's like, look at it, jiggle, and it was like, okay.
God, he did do that.
Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah, he was up there jiggling himself. Yeah, look at it, jiggle, and then
it does the schism, and then the scasm pops. He's scasm. See,
I can see
it's the Jello jiggle. See, it's the Jello jiggle.
And the jiggle and the jiggle. I mean, I get it when. Now, see, that was so weird about when they came out with like sexual accusations about Bill Cosby with women. I was thinking, please don't let that be true, because that's what I see. Bill Cosby in front of some woman's ass and look at that jiggle. And I was like, I don't want to see this shit, man.
That's how it's done, brother.
He's a pimp. But no, man, I do like Rob Zombie a lot. Have you heard about this Super El Bisto thing?
I've heard about it. I don't know much about it. I just know that it exists and that it's coming out. And I know Cyrus was excited about it.
Yeah, I've been hearing about it for a while, and I was like, man, I really want to see that. I think Rob Zombie is a really creative guy, and that's one of the things that I've been looking forward to him doing. But I thought that project was dead. Now, he keeps talking about this other movie, Tyrannosaurus Rex.
Yeah.
What's going on with that?
I don't know. That was supposed to be his next film, and then he decided to do Halloween 2 and said Tyrannosaurus Rex will be my next film after that. And then he said The Blob. I'm guessing maybe at this point it's much easier for him to attach himself to sequel projects or remake projects. Because the thing about Rob Zombie is, there are people screaming at him and just going off on him. And he's got a small audience that loves him, and I know that I'm in the minority of people that really because you say you like Rob Zombie. I've liked all three of his movies up to date.
Then you definitely like him more than I do.
Yeah, no. I like him as a filmmaker. I dig the shit out of his music too, but as a filmmaker, I really find him interesting. But he makes very profitable films because he makes movies for no money. And they all really profit. And he keeps attaching himself to these mid-level $30 million productions that make this movie didn't make its money opening weekend, but it's going to make the $30 million back domestically. Worldwide, it's going to make money.
Well, you're talking about Halloween 2?
Halloween 2 is going to make money overall on DVD.
Actually, Halloween 2, even though it was a disappointing opening, the movie cost $15 million to make.
Oh, I thought he made it for 30. He made it for 15?
Now, I don't know. Maybe I heard differently. I'm looking up the budget right now. I think I heard that. Let me go back and see. Because I saw that somewhere. Fuck, man. Let me go back to Box Office Mojo.
I hope he made it for 15.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking at right now. $15 million.
Awesome.
Man.
So there, he profited again.
So the movie's got $2 million under his belt.
Yeah, plus advertising, of course, which you double it. But he's gonna make his money back on this and on DVD. It's gonna be a profitable one. They'll ask him back for a third one eventually. And we'll see what happens with The Blob. But The Blob, $30 million. He's gonna make that money based on the name alone, whether people hate him or not.
Yeah, they've been talking about doing a Blob for a long time, another Blob movie, and I wonder if he presented this or the studio that was planning on doing this presented it to him.
Yeah, and you know what I'd really like to see? I doubt he'll do it because he's Rob fucking Zombie, but I'd like to see him make a PG-13 movie.
Why?
Why? Because I'd like to see what he does with mood and creepiness when he can't use gore. Because he's actually done that on occasion. If you watch House of a Thousand Corpses, the creepiest things in House of a Thousand Corpses aren't the rated R images. It's the stuff that you could have gotten away with in the PG-13. Like the fish guy. The taxidermied fish guy. That's like the creepiest thing in the movie. I was watching that in the dark one night, and that is the thing that creeped me the hell out. I want to see, and with The Blob, you can kill people without having to show the gore.
Hey, let me ask you something then. Oh, that's what made The Blob. You got to show, as in this day and age, you got to show people being melted and consumed and shit, man.
You don't have to, no.
But I think that's the coolest part of The Blob. And I'll tell you something.
But that's what they did in the 1980s version, though. We already got the gory version.
Well, let me ask you this,
Blob
then.
Didn't have gore.
Well, let me ask you this. No, I remember. No, that's what was so crazy about The Blob. I should have been talking about how silly The Blob is, but when I was a kid, that scared the fuck out of me, man. Because I was thinking, what I was like, okay, yeah, I'm sitting up there laughing at daytime. Yeah, I'm fucking Jello, man. Ain't nobody scared no goddamn cherry Jello. I eat that shit. I wish that motherfucker would step in here. I'll get a spoon and whoop his fucking ass. And then I'm in bed at night. I was like, something though? It could crawl through the door if it really wanted to. And I'm sitting there all nervous and shit.
It could come right under because the door's closed. It could slide under the door. I'm so fucked.
Yeah.
I am so fucked.
No, that's what you're thinking. Where am I going to go if the Blob decides to come in my room? Look, you can talk about all the movie monsters out there. All of them have a weakness. The only thing the Blob has a weakness against is cold, and it's going to thaw out eventually. The Blob is the scariest motherfucker to me because it can creep into anything.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I'm right there with that's the thing. And you can make a PG-13 movie. I'm not saying it has to be. I'm just saying, what I'd kind of like to see is a PG-13 Rob Zombie movie and what that looks like. And the Blob would be the perfect thing to do it because the Blob is a creepy monster.
Yeah. And you know something? Let me ask you this. Okay, you're talking about PG-13 movie. I'm going to throw it out there. I think Rob Zombie would be great to direct another Gremlins movie.
To do Gremlins?
Because it's crazy. I mean, Rob Zombie, if you saw this Halloween, Rob Zombie is crazy. And this Halloween, I enjoyed this Halloween more than the original. I think it's a bad movie myself, but I enjoyed it more than the original because it is funny. It is funny on purpose, and it is unintentionally funny.
Okay, you know what my problem with a Rob Zombie Gremlins movie is?
What's that?
It would be set in a small hick town.
Well, what if somebody
rather than Spielbergia? Because that was what was kind of great about the original Gremlins, is it was set in a very Midwestern town. It's Anytown, USA. And Rob Zombie isn't going to set it in Anytown, USA. It's going to be set in bumfuck Georgia, and Sherry Moon Zombie is going to be the mother, and all hell's going to break loose.
And that shit's going to be set in
kill rednecks.
And it's going to be set in the 70s instead of present time.
Oh no, he'll go period and set it in the 80s. It'll be 80s rednecks.
No, I'm just, man, you know Rob Zombie loves the 70s, man. He'll find a way to put that shit in the 70s, and there'll be Alice Cooper in it, making a cameo and all kind of crazy shit. Leonard Skinner would be set on fire and all kind of crazy stuff, man. The Gremlins will be responsible for crashing the Leonard Skinner plane and all that kind of shit. Maybe that's not a good idea, Rob Zombie doing that. But you know something? I think of Rob Zombie, because if you look at his movies, now look at House of a Thousand Corpses and all the fluorescent imagery and all the crazy creatures in there and whatnot. If you had a good enough writer and didn't let Rob Zombie just run off on it on his own, which is what people have been doing the whole time. He even says with this movie, he says, once again, people are leaving the fuck alone, let me do what I want to do. If you team them up with a good writer, I'd love to see him direct something as crazy as Gremlins. But I don't know. That's just me. What else is going on with you, my man?
With me?
Yeah, with me?
With me? Well, there was a question I wasn't expecting. It's kind of like, what the hell is up with me? You know what? I watched a pretty cool TV series this weekend.
What's that?
Harper's Island.
Harper's what? No, well, you know me. I'm not watching too much TV these days. What is that?
I never watch TV. It's coming out on DVD on September 8th, and it came my way. And what it is it was on CBS earlier this year. It started in April and it ended in July. It was a 13-episode TV series that was complete. I mean, it was beginning to end. It was only 13 episodes, and it's essentially a horror movie on TV. It's 13 episodes of a bunch of people on an island, and they are slowly, one by one, being killed off. And the whole TV series is about them on the island realizing what's going on and then trying to figure out who the murderer is.
God damn, how many shows we going to have about a goddamn island, man? We got Lost, and now we got another island show?
Well, yeah, but it's different. It's not a tropical island. It's up in the Pacific Northwest. It's supposed to be 30 miles off the coast of Seattle. And the thing about an island is that you're cut off from civilization. You can't walk home. You can't just drive home. And if somebody does something to the boats, you can't get off the island. You're fucking screwed. And that's basically what this is about. It's a bunch of people trapped on this island, and they can't get off. And a murderer is picking them off, and it's actually pretty good.
And it's a TV show?
Yeah, it's a TV show, and it's done now. It ended. You can actually find it online right now. All 13 episodes on CBS's site or on IMDb if you look up Harper's Island, or you can wait till September 8th and get it on DVD. The whole DVD, it's 4 discs and has a bunch of extras, and that's how me and my wife watched it this weekend. We kicked back and watched all 13 episodes, and it's a good watch. Essentially, it's a 9-hour horror movie. It's a horror movie with character development, and that takes time to build things and explain the mythology. And it's not perfect, but it's really good. It was really entertaining. So speaking of all the horror we've been talking about, this is a really solid TV show if you like long form horror. Damn,
you convinced me. You sold me right there. I'm on Netflix right now, putting that in my queue. Man, Netflix is
actually, yeah, it's on the Netflix queue too. Yeah,
man, let me tell you something. I'm late in the game. I don't know why, but I fought Netflix off for so long. And one day, I rented. What movie did I rent? I rented Time Crimes and this French musical called The Umbrellas of Cherbourg. And I did not have. I'm so busy that I did not have a chance to watch those. And 2 movies that cost me probably to rent cost me like about $6. end up having like $20-something late fee fine because I just forgot to turn that shit in. I was like, fuck this, because I hardly rent movies. That day I just wanted to rent some movies, and I was like, got on Netflix. Man, Netflix is a dream. I know people I know. I'm catching up to this late, but fuck, man. I just like Umbrellas of Cherbourg and Time Crimes. Now, I went ahead and had Umbrellas of Cherbourg sent to me because I wanted to watch it on DVD. I want to see a pristine copy of it because it's a really colorful film. But Time Crimes, you don't really have to watch. Hey, damn, the computer even got mad at me for not being on Netflix. It's like, what? You just catching up to that? I'm going to cut this shit off right now. I don't know what happened, man. I'm over here at my mom's place. I'm having her, since I'm going to be visiting her more, I'm having internet put in here. But right now, I'm stealing from the neighbor, so it could have been cut off that way.
You hung up on me. That's what happened, man.
No, why would I hang up on you while I was the one that was talking to you? I'm so
you're just
sick
like,
of him.
Fuck this. I don't even want him to hear what I'm saying. That's how pissed off I am at this motherfucker.
Fuck,
shit.
Man. You know, it just dawned on me. I hate this bitch. I don't care. I'm gonna hang up in the middle of my sentence. And Netflix click. No,
he's sitting there laughing at me for not having Netflix, motherfucker.
No, I don't know what happened. I was offended at first. I was talking about Netflix. Well, this motherfucker hang up on me. They say, no, he's fucking with me. No, man, where was I? Oh, yeah, I know people. I'm late on getting Netflix. I know that. But let me say, it is one of the most wonderful things out there. Why didn't somebody think of this before?
They just couldn't get it to work until now.
Oh, that's what I was saying before it stopped. I was watching Umbrellas of Cherbourg.
Netflix streaming.
And Time Crimes, yes. Umbrella, in case I missed this part, I'll just repeat it. I went ahead and had delivered to me on DVD the Umbrellas of Cherbourg because that is a very colorful movie and I want to see it in its most pristine condition. But Time Crimes, I went ahead and streamed that, and that's a movie you really don't have to watch in the best format to get the film. And it was so cool just being able to say, okay, I just want to watch it right now and have it stream over my computer, man. I was like, damn.
I've absolutely loved it. There was a weekend a few weeks ago in which I was just here alone all day and I was bored and I'm like, you know what? I want to watch some of the best movies ever made. So I literally just went through the streaming and found some of my favorite films. I watched Shawshank Redemption, Braveheart, and then I watched the Great Escape, and I streamed it all right here to my computer. I can stream it to my projector, but I streamed it to my computer and sat here and painted all day and watched movies that I just love. Yeah. And it was really cool. And then whenever me and my wife have about 150 movie Netflix streaming queue, so that whenever it's like a Friday or Saturday night, and we're like, what do you want to do tonight? I don't know, let's watch a movie or something. What do you want to watch? I don't know, let's pull up the queue. And we just sift through it until something strikes our fancy for what we're in the mood for. We press play and we watch it.
Oh, no, it is great, man. I have found, I have been a man in a movie desert and just found oasis. I know people like, damn, Corey, it's Netflix, man. Everybody has that shit. Well, what's the big deal? No, you don't understand. I didn't have it. And I was about to give up on movies because I never had a chance to watch some of the movies that I really want to watch. Like a lot of classics from the 70s, 60s, and 50s, and a lot of foreign films that I've been wanting to see. And I've just been like, wow, it's at my fingertips. Technology is crazy. And I was like, whoa. No, really, I'm amazed, man. I'm like, what took me so long?
The streaming just started this year. It's brand new. It just happened just after Christmas. It became public. So you're not too late on that trip. This is actually the first real year that we can stream stuff like this. To devices it streams to my Blu-ray player across the house from my Wi-Fi connection. So. Yeah.
And it's cool, man. They need to bump up the streaming just a little bit more. I have a very fast connection at my place, and even then, the streaming came over a little pixelated. And they even what's that?
It depends on what movie it is and what quality they have it at. But because it varies from movie to movie. Some of them are really disappointing. Like I watched The Beastmaster, and it was only available in Pan and Scan, and it was a crappy old. It was almost VHS quality, and I was really upset because I'm like, damn it, I want to watch fucking DVD quality Beastmaster, motherfucker.
Well, see, that's me, man. I was watching Time Crimes, and I'm like, okay, that's great. This I don't need for this to be that good looking. I still get the film. But then I watched Californication. That's another thing. I'm watching TV series, and Californication was a really good looking copy, man. I was like, why can't the movies look this good? Like,
well,
I'm watching now.
some of them can. I mean, it just all depends. I stream movies to my projector, and I mean, I project them large, and I don't get pixelization or anything like that. I get DVD quality films. But it depends on the film. Some of them are kind of, some of the transfers weren't that great.
And maybe they know that, because it's almost like, look, I'm not making a joke here either. It's almost like they read my mind. I was sitting there thinking to myself, I said, man, you know what? That copy of Time Crimes that I streamed sucked. And then the next thing I know, over the email, like a couple of minutes later, I shit you not, came an email from Netflix that said, what did you think about the viewing quality of Time Crimes? And I'm like, well, I'm glad you asked. And they only gave me 3 choices because I was going to say it looked like shit. But I said, it's acceptable. They give you 3 choices. So
yeah, they send that every once in a while when you stream stuff to check what the quality is.
Yeah. That's cool that they do that. So maybe they know that, and that's why they're going to stream that. They're concentrating on streaming that better, which is cool that they ask, because I think that they really are taking viewer quality under advisement when they ask you something, and they're just asking to ask you like other people do. But
Netflix, by the way, is the only way to legally in America watch the original dub of the original subtitling of Let the Right One In.
Oh, really?
Yeah, if you that's the way to watch it. If you haven't seen it, that's the way to watch it with the original subtitles, because Magnolia went and added new subtitles to it, and the new subtitles suck.
Well, I might have to go and check that out then.
Yeah,
but thanks for the heads up on that.
Oh yeah, no, that is the way to watch it.
Let me ask you something.
Ask me something.
I'm gonna ask you something. Speaking of watching movies. I saw 2 movies this weekend. I saw Taking Woodstock, and I really liked that movie, man. I liked that movie a lot. And then I'm thinking, okay, this is right up there with some of Ang Lee's best. And then I go to Rotten Tomatoes, and I see that the movie only has 50%. And I'm like, what's people's problem with this film?
It's like me and Leon told you in the review. The problem with the film is that so many people go in wanting to see Woodstock and not getting what Ang Lee was trying to do. And they walk out going, that's great, but they could have given us some Jimmy. They could have given us some Janis Joplin. They talk about God, now I'm blanking on his name now. The musician they were talking about showing up throughout the thing.
Bob Dylan.
Bob Dylan.
Yeah,
they could have given us some Dylan. And no, that wasn't the point of the movie. The point of the movie was seeing what was going on the periphery of Woodstock. We all know what happened at Woodstock. We've all seen footage. You can at any time get a copy of several different versions of the original Woodstock film and see all the best parts. Ang Lee wanted to make something completely different. And if you read a lot of the reviews, the negative reviews, that's their beef. Their beef is they wanted more of Woodstock.
I don't get, this is one situation where I don't like to be condescending to people, but I will say that if that is your complaint about the movie, complain about some other things. And maybe I'll understand. But when you say I didn't get to see the performances, do you not understand that it was about this guy who came to certain self-realizations? Your central character, Elliot, played by Demetri Martin, he came to certain self-realizations by not getting to that concert. It was the people that he met and experienced he had putting it together.
Well, and several of the other characters that are just small characters that also have these life-changing experiences involved in it. Like that whole great scene with Emile Hirsch up on top of the hill, and he's like, I love this hill.
Oh yeah,
I remember.
Yeah.
I mean that is like one of the most profound moments in the film, and it has nothing to do with what's going on stage. It has everything to do with a guy coming to grips with coming home and finally realizing what home is and being surrounded by love and joy at this festival that has nothing to do with the music. It has to do with the people, and it really makes you feel connected to the event rather than what was on stage, and I dig that.
It's like one of my favorite movies this year, man. I thought it was a beautiful film. I loved it, man. I liked it more than I thought I would.
Yeah, now you see why we both gave it full price.
Yeah, no, I'm in Waco, people, right now. That's where my mom lives, and there's really not a whole lot to do here. So, which is good because I needed that, especially after last weekend. And yeah, man, I had to get
very angry at Coco.
Man, I had to get away. A lot of people don't understand, and I
I do. That's why I do. That's why I couldn't immerse myself in it. I would go and spend a few hours with people, and it's like, okay, now I got to go home because I can't spend 72 hours straight with Spilios. I'll lose my goddamn mind.
And I did, and I wish for a couple of people, I hope you understand that. You don't understand. I did something unusual that a lot of people would not do. And not only did I like host a party that went on for almost like 4 days, 5 days because it extended, but I know and spent like one full day with almost nearly 100 people, probably 100 people. And then, but on top of that, I opened up my home to these people and I opened up myself. And it just got to a point where I have no regrets, none at all. It was it was like the best time I had this year, but I really did. You don't understand. For anybody that is upset at me for something that I did, you got to understand this wasn't normal for anybody.
Well, no, it was normal to a certain extent because people got to see what happens when you go without sleep and add alcohol. Because that's what happened is you didn't sleep 8 hours a night during the spill party, did you?
No, I did not.
And you were drinking alcohol constantly during the spill party, weren't you?
Man, not only during the party, but I was drinking like.
I'm talking about the whole weekend.
Oh, the whole weekend I was drinking, man. And except for I didn't drink that heavy on Friday night because I wanted to be ready for the day, but I did not sleep. I couldn't sleep. I was nervous. But
I'm telling you, man, this is something we all have seen a million times, and it was one of those things we were worried about. It's like if he doesn't sleep and he adds alcohol, he's going to turn into Cranky Corey. Captain Cranky Pants, and that's, I'm sure, what happened several times during the weekend.
Well, it only happened once, and unfortunately, like it happened on somebody. I shouldn't probably even bring it up, but it was a reason why, and but no one was around to see why, and it was just kind of like, and I feel really bad for doing that, but I have to say, like. But for the most part, I was really patient, and I really had a good time with people. I love opening my home to people, and it was just 2 nights where some people even decided to like stay longer. Like they just said, "I'm going to stay an extra day." So
they did.
Yeah, and that meant that I had like an extra day of people at my house, and it was fine. I mean, I loved it. I'm not complaining at all. If we do this again, I don't know if I could actually accommodate. If it gets bigger, I don't know if I can accommodate everybody, but I'll be better prepared for that to happen because I love having people around. But I don't know what led us on this conversation. But that's right. I had to get away. So yeah, after last weekend and some of the fallout and the good times and whatnot, I really had to just get away. And like I said, my mom is feeling kind of lonely and depressed, and I just had to come home with her. And in Waco, there's really nothing to do. It's just you're either content to stay quiet and at home like I did, or you go to a movie. And I went to see Taking Woodstock, and it was cool, man. And I'm really glad you guys told me about it because I really love that film.
Yeah, no, and this is one of the things I was talking about at the very beginning, a very angry top 5. That what's so heartbreaking is that didn't even clear the top 5. It did piss poor this week. It made less than $3 million.
No, it made $3 million. It made probably about 3.5, something like that. So, but still, man, the movie cost like $30 million. Now that's the way that cost $30 million to make, which I'm still surprised because of all the extras in that film. I mean, that movie was insane. I would love to have been an extra on that film. A lot of naked people around there too, but it's.
Did you see what I was talking about? How kind of frustrating it was for Corey Coleman, and that there's naked people, but the camera never focuses, so you never get to see anything really.
It is something about looking at naked hippies that reminds me of looking at National Geographic. It's nothing sexual about it.
It's true.
It's like you're just looking at these people.
They're unwashed. It's kind of gross.
Yeah, I might as well have been looking at like primates or wild caribou stirring in mud or something. I mean, it really wasn't sexual to me at all. And sometimes it was really cool to see people that free, but it was still like, all right, I'm not getting a hard on watching this.
Thank God Dan Fogler kept his pants on.
Oh, you talk, man. Dan Fogler is the guy that was What movie can you name that this guy's been in that people recognize him from? He was in
Balls of Fury.
Balls of Fury. He was the star, and he was in Fanboys.
Fanboys.
Yeah, and that fat fuck, he must have known. In fact, I think he.
Now you don't need to call the guy a fat fuck,
but you know he is, and he's hairy, and you know he was probably about like Ang Lee was probably like, okay, everybody get naked, and he was about to take his pants off. And Ang Lee's like, no, except you, keep your shit on.
I like the man penis, but you keep your pants on.
Okay, now that's my question.
I don't even know what accent that was, but that was my best day.
And I do keep the man penis.
You keep the man penis.
I think you did a boo from The Simpsons or some shit.
You keep the man penis. Thank you very much. Have a good day, sir.
Now, after having so many gay movies, I did not know because I don't read up on Ang Lee's personal life. It's probably obvious, but I guess at this point, everybody knows he's gay. So, is he gay?
I think so. He's made like 80 fucking movies about it, I would assume. If he's not, he's one of the single greatest gay activists of all time.
Yes. Yeah, it's not. He has a lot of gay friends who are pressuring him. But this movie, very good movie, man. I also saw Ponyo, and that was really cool.
Isn't that just The Little Mermaid done by Miyazaki?
It pretty much is, except it's done with children, and it's not his best. Miyazaki, he's the guy that did Spirited Away and Totoro, My Friend Totoro, My Neighbor Totoro.
My Neighbor Totoro.
What was his biggest hit here? Princess Mononoke is one of them.
Spirited Away was his biggest hit. Princess Mononoke was the second biggest.
Okay, and
last movie they put out of his was Howl's Moving Castle.
Howl's Moving, which is not good at all, if you ask me. A good-looking film, but of course, any animator loves this guy. So I got all the animators together from the site, and we all went to go see Ponyo. And I tell you, it's not his best by any means. It's kind of boring in some parts, but to watch these kids in there look at this movie, which has such great artistry, and they just loved it, man. And these kids were dancing and really having a good time, and it's like that made the movie better for me. I was like, wow, this is cute. And it's a cute movie. It's one of those films where you either have to be an animator to enjoy it with other animators to its full extent, or you have to have children, because it's the perfect movie to take children to. Children will love this film. I can't recommend it enough for them. Have you not seen it?
No, you know what? It's one of those things I don't really talk about. I don't like Miyazaki.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, some of his films are good. I mean, there are some Miyazaki. I mean, I really like My Neighbor Totoro, and Spirited Away is good. I really have issues with Princess Mononoke, but most of his films I find just long and boring. And I get why animators love them, because they're these long, sweeping periods of animation, but there's nothing fucking going on. I mean, even My Neighbor Totoro, which I like a lot, there's whole periods of nothing going on. But I'm just so blown away by the imagination of things like the cat bus and just the various creatures that I'm just so caught up in it. And it's the same with Spirited Away. But his films just tend to bore me. And so I don't get excited about them until I hear I wait for everybody to go nuts about one of them, because, you know, it's stuff like Ponyo and Howl's Moving Castle where it's like, oh, I like it, or, oh, I kind of like it.
Yeah.
When I hear that from people who love Miyazaki, I know it's one of his films that I can avoid. So I was waiting to hear, and Ponyo was something that everybody has said pretty much the same thing, which is, I liked it better when it was called The Little Mermaid.
It's not. It is a Little Mermaid. Like I said, it's with children though, and he captures children's mannerisms so well. This is live action art animated. This is one of the best directors I've ever seen, who's able to actually see children for what they are and capture all their mannerisms on film. I mean, it was great to see that. That's
what's so great in My Neighbor Totoro.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, you follow around these two kids who are very clearly kids. They are children, and to the way they capture the imagination and everything is just so fantastic. So that sounds cool, but I'm not hearing things that excite me about Ponyo. So I might catch it on DVD, but it's not a big rush for me.
I think you're right that there are these moments where there's nothing going on, because I see that myself. So yeah, Ponyo, I don't think it would interest you, man. I don't think you need to see that, really.
Yeah, I'm not surprised, but at the same time, I'm not going to talk shit about it. It's one of the reasons why, you know, he's in that small class of people who I don't really review their films because they're not for me, and I know that I don't get them, and so I'm not going to talk shit about them.
Yeah, no, I understand that. I'm right there with you. Before we move on to our email, which we need to do pretty quick because we are coming up on an hour.
We are.
Yeah, I'm surprised. That went pretty fast. We might start doing this more. The whole thing that we did last week, it ended up being very successful. The thing where if they don't have a screening for movies, then we just have to review the trailer and give our review after the movie comes out, but take predictions on what the movie would be like by watching the trailer. That's what we did with Halloween, people. What we did was we watched the trailer for Halloween, and since they didn't give us a screening for it, we just said, okay, judging by this trailer, what would we pay to see this movie if we had to use our own money? And I thought a lot of people were going to think it was unfair, or people thought we were copping out. A lot of people I would say about 98% of people who watched what we did said that, you know what, this was something that is cool. You guys should do more of this.
Well, because it was a bunch of buddies sitting around talking about what they thought about the movie. You know, what they thought about what was coming up. It's just like something everyone else does. I think we should do it more often in the sense that when it merits doing it, I don't think we should do it like on a regular basis.
Well, no, that was my whole idea when I said we should do it this time around. We should only do it for movies. I mean, if we go see a movie that they give us a screening for, why would we not do a review for it if we saw it ahead enough time? Now, this is what I was planning all along. I was thinking like, okay, if they're going to do more movies where there's no screening for them, then this is what we'll do to compensate for that. Or if a movie comes out on a Thursday, possibly even a Wednesday screening, just so I can get stuff up on time, we might use that approach too. But no, we don't want to use this as a replacement. You understand what I'm saying? I agree with you there. Yeah. So I'm glad people like that. And I think we're going to do that this week with Gamer. So.
Because are they not showing us Gamer?
Nope.
Well, they are showing us some stuff. Thankfully, the most exciting thing tomorrow, you and I are going to go see 9.
9, yes, but 9 comes out on the
9th,
which
9th. Is the middle of next week.
Yes, not this Wednesday, but the Wednesday after that. So we will get to see that ahead of time for the following week.
It comes out on your birthday.
Yes, it does. Don't think I hadn't thought about that.
The day after my birthday.
Yes, it does. So I feel very special to be celebrating my birthday with a little CG animated paper sack or whatever the hell he is. But yeah,
9 CG paper sacks. Don't you dare, dehumanize them by saying there's only one of them. There are 9
There are
CG
9 of them.
Sacks.
And the 9th one is the best because he shares the number of my birthday. But yeah, we should go there dressed up like the characters. You should be 8 and I should be 9. What do you think?
Ooh, you know what? I could bring a hot chick who could dress as 7. And she could be 7 of 9.
No, we should make her a 10. See?
Dude, like... All right. Anyhow, let's move on to email.
All right, email. You said you had some email, right? So
I do. I got a couple tweets. I put out the tweet call and got some interesting questions. We answered one of them already.
What was that?
Drew Blood from New York. Drew Blood, New York City, asked us about Rob Zombie's Blob.
Oh, okay. Oh, really? Oh, okay. Yeah. So we just happened to just talk about that by accident then. Okay.
Yeah, I was going to talk about it anyway. So,
okay, cool.
And then there's people making fun of you, and so we'll move past that. And here's a good one. Since you've actually seen it now, and you can attest to it, we were talking about this earlier. Question is, do you have more faith in the remake? This comes from Tom G 25, by the way. Mm-hmm. Do you have more faith in the remake of Time Crimes or Let the Right One In?
Oh, probably Time Crimes. Because
you have more faith in that?
Yeah, because I still think, even though I'm not like, and I'll let you tell me what you think after I say this, but I'm not against the movie as much as some people are who have heard there's going to be a remake of Let the Right One In. But at the same time, I don't think that they'll go to the extent that the original did, which is really what makes the movie. And I don't want to ruin anything. When you see the movie deals with very adult subject matter with kids. And I just don't think they're going to go there with that film. And if they do, then I'll be pleasantly surprised. But Time Crimes, that's a movie that can actually be elaborated on. I mean, it's a movie that didn't cost a whole lot. There's room to actually elaborate on the story. So, yeah, I have more faith in that film than Let the Right One In.
I 100% agree with you. But the reason is that Let the Right One In is entirely about subtlety. It is a movie that changing characters or changing certain aspects of characters or changing situations will radically change what the movie is about. Time Crimes is not. Time Crimes is a really great idea that you could even change the main character of the adaptation of Time Crimes. You could change some of the way some of the events happen. You could change certain things and it would still be Time Crimes. Time Crimes is not a hard one to get right. Because it's about very simple ideas done very well. And as long as the structure remains intact, it's going to keep the vibe of Time Crimes. But yeah, if you futz with a few things, if you just change the ages of the characters, you radically alter the film.
Yes.
The film is about two 12-year-olds, a 12-year-old boy and a 12-year-old girl. And if you change that, you completely change the movie. If they are 15, if they are 18, it is a completely different film at that point. If they're 7, it's a different film.
Yeah.
So, I mean, something as small as that, I'm really curious what's going to happen when they take it out of the country that it's set in. Where are they going to set it in the north so at least we can have the snow, so we can have that same kind of ambiance? If you change the ambiance, you change something of the film. If you change some of the occurrences, the entire film just completely falls apart. It is such a beautifully crafted film that you are absolutely correct. Time Crimes is the one I have more faith in. Let the Right One In is the one I'm terrified about. If they get it wrong, I mean, granted, we still have this original perfect film, but if they get it wrong, there's a whole group of people who will see this film and not be moved to see the original.
Yeah, and same here. So we're on the same page on that. What else you got?
Let's see here. Okay, here's one. Where was it?
I don't know. Where is it?
Okay, this comes from Grog42. Grog42. What is the best or most interesting fan film you've ever seen?
The best fan film? This is going to be a pretty obvious one, but this is the one I saw first, and this is the one that says that as much as I like the film that they've done today, this is one that showed me that it could work against what everyone was saying the reason why it wouldn't work, and that is the movie with Batman fighting the Predator. I forgot what it was called. Batman Dead End.
Yes, Batman Dead End.
And the reason why I say that that's one of the best fan films, not only did it take a ridiculous premise like Batman fighting the alien and the Predator, that's not even the biggest thing to me. It even though it still worked, it was cool. But what made it work for me is that a lot of people said, you know something, you can't take Batman and have him wear the same suit that we see in the comic books or we see in the animated shows because it just doesn't look as good in live action. And whoever made that film, they put Batman pretty much in that original costume, the gray shirt and the black utility belt along with a little bit of the yellow in there, and it was like, wow, you know something, that perfectly works if you know how to film it right and know how to actually build that costume correctly. So, and that's one of the best looking Bruce Waynes I've seen too, on film. And I love what they did with Batman, but you know, it's still. It's an interpretation of Batman. It's not directly taken from the source. And this Batman I saw in Dead End was taken from the source and still looked good in live action.
You know what? Oddly enough, you took mine. This is of course directed by Sandy Cholera, and he was a special effects guy and a props guy for a long time, and made this really brilliant short film that was the first really great crossover film because it was such a surprise when it happened, and then the ending was such a kicker. This got him his gigs, and as a result, he's got a film that's supposed to come out sometime this year. I don't know when it's due out, called Hunter Prey.
What's it about?
I know very little about it. There's a trailer for it. I haven't seen it yet. Which I'm probably going to end up watching immediately after this, because I was like, yeah, you know what, because Sandy Cholera came to town several years ago. God, it's got to be 5 years ago now. He had just done World's Finest. After he did the World's Finest short film, after he did Batman Dead End, and he came into town to do zombie makeup for everybody who was going to a premiere here in town.
Oh, that was the guy that did that?
Yeah. See, and that's the thing, is that there was a premiere here in town of a film that very few people had heard of. A few of us had seen it and fallen in love with it. A little film called Shaun of the Dead. And he had the big U.S. premiere here in Austin, and Sandy Cholera came to town to do the zombie makeup.
Oh, wow, man.
And so he was, at the time, he had a whole bunch of projects on his table, and then nothing came of them. And finally, this is the first, once this idea came up, it's like, oh, hey, it gives me a chance to look up Sandy Cholera and talk about him and Batman Dead End. And I was like, maybe Corey will mention that. And then sure enough, you mentioned Batman Dead End, which, of course, I think is the single greatest fan film of all time. I mean, when it premiered online, people lost their fucking minds. He got the next week, he got 50 scripts sent to him. to try to attach him as the director. And unfortunately, what had happened from what I heard was he got very picky and was kind of he wanted to be very choosy, which one would hope you can do. But then the hype on him dried up rather quickly, and as a result, he, ended up not making a film until now.
So what? He got scripts offering to direct the next Batman film?
Not Batman. He got scripts from all across the map. He didn't do it specifically to get the Batman gig. He did it to show what he could do, and he got a lot of offers. But his website is hunterpreythemovie.com. And if you put hunterpreythemovie.com/trailer.htm, you get the trailer of it. I'm going to watch it right after this and see what he's been up to. I have faith in it. The guy knows what he's doing. He's a cool fucking dude. And
he does know what he's doing, man. I looked at that film and I was like, wow. Somebody send him the Batman script. Just don't send him a regular script.
Well, he's big into sci-fi and fantasy, and so I'm really into whatever this film is. It's a science fiction film, and even if it's low budget, it's going to look like it's going to be fucking tits. So I really hope that it's got a solid script and that he made a killer fucking film, because this is a guy. This guy was supposed to be huge by now. He was supposed to be, his first film was supposed to put him in the Neil Blomkamp.
I was just about to say it right if you said that. He should have been the next Neil Blomkamp.
But for some reason, it didn't come through. I'm really curious to see what's up with this film. But yeah, that is the single best fan film I've ever seen.
Yeah, same here. I haven't seen anything really better. If there is something better, people put it up there, show us. But right now, that's the only one that comes to mind. You want to do one more?
Yeah, why don't you pull one out?
Okay. I was not prepared.
Because the only one left here that was worth asking is from Shane MD, who asks, why is Corey such a dick to you when you record this show?
Because Carlisle's a dick to me first, that's why.
And there we go. And my answer is because Corey's a fucking dick. What are you going to do?
Wow, you know what? We are so much on agreement tonight because that was my answer too.
There we go.
About you, though. Let's see. You know what? I have one right here. This is a good one. It says... just wanted to get your feedback on the upcoming Where the Wild Things Are game. Now, to me, I think this is complete exploitation of something beautiful, but that's just my opinion. What are your thoughts on this? And that is from George Holguin. And George, I agree.
Did you say game?
You heard me correctly. Game. He said game. Now, I have not heard of this game at all, but I noticed that this is a trend among big studios to accompany their big budget genre films with a video game. And sometimes it works and sometimes it does not. And one example of this is recently there was, I don't think it was sold. I think it was downloadable content, a downloadable content game for Watchmen, which was just a fighting game that featured Rorschach and Night Owl. And it was nothing like their characters. It was nothing like the world that was set up for them. It was just an extra way to make money from that property. And I don't think studios are going to stop, because most of these games that come out are terrible because they are rushed. They are made quickly to coincide with the release of the film. But a lot of times they just don't capture the spirit of the source material. And I think that in an ideal world, if you really respected whatever property that was, especially if it was taken from someone else, then you wouldn't do it. But they're not going to stop, and a lot of times you're going to be very lucky if these games are any good.
Well, I have two things about that. First of all, there was another Watchmen game. There were two Watchmen games. There was the one downloadable, and then the one really awesome Flash game, which was almost the same thing, which was an 80s style Double Dragon game.
I played that.
That was a great game. That really got the spirit of Watchmen. I dug the hell out of that.
But you know why that worked, though? Because it was to coincide with the movie, and it was set up to be like that game was part of a game from that world. And these characters are celebrities, so it was almost like within that world, somebody took, and the movie takes place in 1985. So it was like somebody took those characters and put them in an arcade style game that's appropriate for that period. It was creative.
The thing that I do have to say about this, as much as it kind of, there's part of me that's like, well, all right, you guys are right. It is kind of exploitive and it is making money off it, but it's exploitive because, well, people are interested in participating in these kind of things. People are interested in playing these kind of games. Sometimes they're good, sometimes they're not. But what it all boils down to is, you know what? The guy who wrote this book wrote an incredible children's book, and he's making money off that game. And he's making money off the film. You can call it exploitation, but the creator is getting paid for this work that he did.
No.
And you know what? Any money that goes into that guy's coffers and provides him with his lifestyle, God bless him, because he wrote one of the single greatest children's books of all fucking time.
Okay, now what I would have to say about that is, one, is he really getting money from that, or is that just going to the studio?
As long as he owns the trademark, which is, as far as I know, everything I've heard, because he's attached to the film and he's worked closely with him, and he apparently loves the film. He said it's Spike's movie and not his, but he apparently digs it. He's gonna get the money off this.
Well, if he's getting money, then great. But my problem with it is not so much who's getting the money, or if they're even making a game off of it. I'm not one of those purists who says they can't ever do this with that property because it doesn't seem like it'll fit. No, my problem is that 9 times out of 10, these games that go with the movie, they're not good games. They're not good games at all.
No, it's the sad thing that we deal with is that movies based on games suck and games based on movies suck. Except on rare occasions.
Yeah.
Whenever you try to cross market something, it usually is handled by people who don't understand the original.
Well, that's my problem. Now, you talk about this guy made one of the most beloved children's books. I grew up with that book myself. I love it. But there was real heart that went into that. And this game, now, I haven't seen the game, so I'm not going to talk unfairly about the game at all.
Right.
But let's just say that worst case scenario, that is, this follows the history and pattern of other video game translations of movies and books. If it's soulless, it's just something that was made quickly, then that really does kind of, it kind of counters everything that went into the original property, which is a lot of soul and heart that went into something that made a great children's book. And then you had some people who just wanted to make a quick buck. So what they made was a heartless and soulless video game that they knew was. And a lot of times these people know these games aren't good. They're just told, you know what, you need to make that game and get it out as quickly as you can. Of course, one of the prime examples of that being E.T., which are like about 6 million, 7 million copies, maybe 9 million copies ended up in a landfill because they were forced into making a game and were forced to put it out too quickly. And it ended up being a piece of shit. And almost every video game movie based on a movie is like that. Almost everyone. Butcher Bay, Chronicles of Riddick, Escape from Butcher Bay is one of the exceptions. That's a really cool game. And they have the new Batman game out, Arkham Asylum, and
which at Guinness Book of World Records just listed as the most critically acclaimed video game of all time.
Yeah. Somebody sent that to me in an email today, and it's what's that?
I'm going to mention this real quick just for some of our fans who are probably screaming at you right now. I hear the Wolverine game was far better than the movie.
I heard that was too. And look, I didn't say all games. And notice I didn't specifically say that Wolverine was one of those terrible games. I said most. I said 9 times out of 10. And if you look at the history of video game translations.
We just had people who gave us a hard time a couple months ago about that. So I just wanted to clear that up.
Yeah. So. Hey, you know what? If Wolverine is a good game and it's better than the movie, great. I haven't played the game, but I did hear that game was, because people did jump on my case when I mentioned the same subject a long time ago. So great. I haven't played the game, but if you say so, sure.
All right. Well, I think that does it for tonight.
Oh, you know what? That's it, man. So this didn't work so bad. You know what? If this comes out sounding okay and it comes out being pretty good, this might actually kind of be easier on you. This might
save a Coco.
Well, it might. It might save a Coco, and it might save a trip for you. You might not have to drive across town anymore. I actually like doing this better, man, because I'm reclining.
Because you're reclining and you're not in the same room as me.
I don't know why, man.
And every minute you don't have to spend in the same room with me is a good minute, isn't it?
Well, look, I'm not going to say that it's that's 100% not true. I think for some reason I think it's more antagonistic when we're in the same room together. But when on the phone like this, you call me crazy, but it seems just a little bit more relaxed, and I'm actually enjoying myself right now.
Well, let's see how it works out. But until then, good night, everybody.
Yeah, good night, everybody. Talk to you later. Hello? Hello?
Hey.
What's up?
I was just calling to see how it came out.
Came out fine.
You there?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah.
No, it came out fine.
Oh, excellent. Okay. Yeah, the Skype is exactly how they do the Slash Filmcast. So I figured it would come out all right. I just wanted to, double check and make sure it came out all right. So
No, it came out fine. I mean, the only thing is just a little hiss in there, but it doesn't matter. Nobody cares.
Yeah, I was hearing the hiss over your end, so it might be something with your microphone.
Yeah, it could be. I don't know what's going on. So, but it could be because I'm using something called Audio Hijack Pro. I'll try and figure it out. But yeah, cool. It came out fine. So,
right on, excellent. All right, and are you going to be at 9 tomorrow?
Yeah, 2:00, right?
Yeah.
Yes, and that's South Lamar, Alamo. Yeah.
Let me just 100% double check that.
Oh, and just to let you know, I have to go out of town on Tuesday, so tomorrow we will have to record for 9 in Gamer, and we'll be done for the week unless you want to go see Gamer at midnight, which I don't know if you do or not. So
I might. I don't know.
I mean, we got it covered either way. I mean, you'll be paid for.
So we're going to record tomorrow right after 9.
Well, Martin wants to record with us, so we might have to record in the evening. That's the thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'll see if I can come back for it. I mean, I will definitely try.
Yeah, we'll do it late too. We're probably doing it like around 9 something, 9:30. So.
I hate having to make 2 trips like that. I mean, I understand that Martin's got to be in on it, but especially with those afternoon, if we're doing it on the same day, it eats up my day.
Yeah, no, I know. I'm trying to find a middle ground, but I don't know any other way around it,
Yeah. Well, I will talk to you about it tomorrow then at the screening.
Okay. I'll talk to you then, man.
All right. Bye.
Bye.